So, Beth, I had a fallout with part of my family, my father's family that he married into. They were pretty awful to me, and I was really hurt. Despite that, I was always willing to hear their hurt and work through it, knowing that that's what was driving their behavior, but they shut me out. Circumstances are now such that I may need to communicate with them about my father's health, finances, and family business. A part of me wants them to apologize to me before I'm willing to reach out to them, but it's unlikely they will. Thoughts on how to reframe this?
I have one really quick question first, and that is, have you ever told them how you feel?
I think I may have before they told me they never wanted to talk to me again, but not sure. I can't remember.
Yeah. So the feeling I got as you asked the question was that you haven't exactly said, this is how I'm feeling. When this happened, I felt this way. And a lot of us don't. I have my own situations where I can say, yeah, I just couldn't do it. You know why? Because I was scared of the rejection in the moment. I was scared that they were going to not listen, not validate, not hear me, not care, right? Because that's the feeling you get, is that they don't care. They've already told you, like, we don't care. We have to keep persevering with sharing how we feel, because our lens of perspective, their lens and your lens, is coming from very different places. Very different backgrounds, varying ideas about what family means, about how we interact with family, what we say to family. And we expect them to then want to respond in the way that we would respond. And when they don't, that's where the disappointment comes in. So I think the only thing we can do is continue to say, here's how I feel. And for this situation, knowing that there's kind of like a lot of history now, right? And there's like a lot underneath. I would ask spirit, your higher self, to guide you, because the mind is going to just take you into a crazy farm of past hurt and ideas, and I should say this or I shouldn't say that. And whether it's journaling or it's meditation or it's just simply, I get the image of like on your knees, just saying, help me to have a better relationship with these family members. Help me speak my truth without, because I feel like what's happening is that you don't want to bring your vulnerability in, because they've kind of like so many times when you tried, right? And so then we shrink up and we're like, oh yeah, I don't want to talk about that, because the one time that I sort of tried to do it, they came back and like annihilated me, like emotionally. I just felt like they took my heart out. So I do think, ask spirit, help me with this. And I also feel that it's not only asking spirit, but it's asking spirit to shift the energy for you. This may not be about words anymore. It may not be about the words you say. It may be about the shift of the energy within you and how you feel about it. And the way we do that is we let it go. And I just got a real pearl from a very dear intuitive friend. I said, we were talking about something. I said, oh yeah, I just want to release that. And she said, no. You don't want to release that. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't know. She's like, no, you want to let it go and transmute it, right? Okay, the difference is, she said, think about it. A car, if you release it, you bring it back, right? So a lot of times I think we think that we're releasing something, and I know it's semantics, but there's energy behind the words of which we say, speak, say, think, feel, right? Get to let go. Because when we let go of the attachment to their response. We let go that anything is ever going to change with these people. And we transmute it to a place that we just allow ourselves to feel the love that we have for them, even sometimes when we don't, but that we can get to a place of love, even in these difficult situations, and that we listen more, not less. And that as you listen, you're letting go and you're transmuting, letting go and transmuting, I'm hearing the words. I'm letting go. I'm kind of like at the beginning of this when I was talking about just sitting there listening to somebody. It's easy because that person I didn't know, right? But when they're people we know, it's harder. But when we're at these higher levels of awareness and consciousness, this is the practice, isn't it? To like literally sit in the fire and to be able to let it go and not have the attachment. And also that phrase of, if you want to know how enlightened you really are, spend some time with family, right? So I feel like that's always a good gauge. Like, okay, how much do they trigger me? Am I able to really let it go? So yeah, hopefully that letting go and transmuting and asking spirit to come in and help you do some of that for yourself will help shift them. But let's not have the expectation, because it might not. They might just choose to stay where they're at. Is that helpful? Something more? Yeah.
Well, I think I just got a hit on something because I can't talk to them. They've asked me not to talk to them, but I may just have to have a conversation from my higher self to their higher self. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And you know what? Thank you. And that exercise came to me so profoundly when I did an ayahuasca journey. I had a family member that and when I realized, no, I just talked to their higher self. And I did. And something big happened as a result of it. Right. And so I'm not suggesting you have to go do ayahuasca. I'm just saying that I learned ayahuasca showed me the power of that, because a lot of times we can say we're going to do that, but we're so ingrained in the feelings because they're heavy and they're within us at a cellular level, as you know, that we can't actually shift the energy within. So what Aya taught me is, no, really, if you shift it, they will shift. Right. So, but it's also, again, I just want to say non-attachment, because there's lessons that they're teaching you and lessons that they're teaching themselves through their relationship with you. So the more we can anchor into that cleanliness is the word that comes to mind, but cleanliness of spirit, cleanliness of mind, cleanliness of no judgment, no resentment on them. It's really hard for them to stay in their shithole. It's not really the right word, but it's what comes out. And then if they do choose to stay there in their mind mess and their chaos, that's theirs. It's not ours. And yeah, and we just keep letting it go. Is that helpful? Yay. Thank you. Okay. All right. We are down to the wire. We've got some additional questions that we didn't get to today. I will put them on the list in top queue for next week. Please tune in. And if you haven't already, please do the State of the Heart assessment. It's so much fun. You'll find out if your heart is blocked, broken, healing, or whole. And it just gets you, deeper reflecting into like, hey, like what's really heavy on my heart? Like what's the state of my heart? And you also get some tips, tools, techniques to help you with your spiritual toolbox. And if you want something more, of course, you can always read the book, Angels, Herpes, and Psychedelics. And if you want something more, you can get the Awakening and Healing Handbook. It's on bethbell.me. There's lots of tips, tools, modalities in there as well. And there's the psychedelic resource guide. So if anything I've said about ayahuasca might start to tap some curiosity and interest, please go to bethbell.me. The psychedelics resource guide is really a great guide to help you explore whether or not this is the right option and how to go about it. And then, of course, we have the herpes handbook. So that's also on bethbell.me. I can't wait to see you next week. Please submit your questions, bethbell.me/question. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, wishing you much bliss and love on the journey. Namaste.